Well, it's a long weekend and my wife is gone. Definitely miss her. But to fill in the space while she's out, I thought I would take a motorcycle ride, right? That sounds like a good idea. So, here I am on the bike and headed down to Sandpoint. I thought we'd run down to the Golden Arches and treat myself to a dinner out. Actually broke down and put the rain/wind liner inside the jacket. It's not that it's all that cold outside, but it's cool enough that if you let the wind blow through the mesh, then it cools off pretty quickly, especially as the sun starts to go down. So we went ahead and put the liner in and then opened up the zippers to allow air in the jacket. And that seems to make it pretty comfortable. It's maybe just a little bit warm, but I'm betting on the way back, as the temperature drops quickly into the 40s, that it'll be just about right. Well, we have arrived at Ponderay. It's a good thing, I'm getting hungry. Decided eating it would be good. I got a little bit of time before we get home, so let's talk about my very bug-ridden, dirty MadStad windshield here with a little glowy piece across the top. The MadStad windshield is another update that I did. I'm not sure that everybody really needs to do that, but I just wanted to quiet the turbulence around my head a little bit. Largely because, excuse me, that burger has gotten clear in my throat for some reason. Anyway, the MadStad windshield. I don't know that everybody really needs to change out the windshield on this bike. The one that it comes with is perfectly adequate for keeping the wind at reasonable levels while you're going down the road. It looks good on the bike. The reason I changed it is primarily because I've got tinnitus, and because I was going to do some motovlogging potentially, and the turbulence with the stock windshield, unless you duck down behind the windshield like this, is pretty spit it out, Anthony. It's pretty noisy. It's not annoying as far as, you know, moving your head around or anything like that. It's just very loud and annoying. So you can't even ride down the road at 30 miles an hour without earplugs in without feeling uncomfortable, at least if your ears have been abused previously as mine have. Secondly, it's loud enough that it's pretty hard to get any kind of intelligible audio to record, even with a noise-canceling microphone. So, with those things in mind, I looked at several different windshields and actually tried, I'll have to look up the name, but I tried a windshield that's not adjustable, but was just higher. And first of all, it moved the turbulence, but it did get rid of it. Secondly, I didn't like having to have a windshield that I had to look through as often as I had to on that one. Especially, it's not bad on the highway, but if you're on back roads, gravel, or trails and stuff, I prefer to look straight at the road or the trail as opposed to looking through the windshield if it's at all possible. So the MadStad allows me to do that, and it allows me to adjust the height and angle depending on what my particular needs are at the moment. Most of the time, it's sufficient to run it at the farthest angle towards the rider and all the way to the bottom. What I found over the last couple of days riding in the evening, where I'm relying on the headlight, is that if it's all the way down, the windshield just glows. It picks up, doesn't go down to the headlight, but it's close enough to it and far enough out that it picks up quite a bit of glare. So it's pretty much impossible to actually look through the windshield, and that just gets worse the dirtier the windshield gets. And you know, that doesn't take that long to get bugs out, to get the windshield dirty. Secondly, it's kind of distracting to have this glow, and when it's all the way down, the windshield glows quite a bit. Moving it up about a half an inch lessens that glare and the glow enough that it's okay. Moving it up farther actually will help even more, although it never gets to the point where it doesn't have some looking, you know, it's not looking like it's kind of backlit. But I don't really like it that high. Although with all these bugs that are out here tonight, I'm thinking maybe I should have put it up all the way. So, bottom line on that one is, I think it works well for me. I am going to put my thinking cap on and see what I can do about maybe coming up with something that'll reduce the glare that comes from the bottom. Maybe some kind of a anti-glare coating or a film. I think I might also contact MadStad and see if they've got any suggestions. They can't be the only one that rides a Versys that's noticed this as an issue. But it's certainly not enough of an annoyance that I would go back to the stock windshield. It might be if I rode at night a lot, but I don't. Fact of the matter is, I avoid riding after dark as much as possible. My very first motorcycle, which is a 1980s model Yamaha 650 Special, me and a deer and the bike ended up going for a little slide together, and I think that was unpleasant for all of us. The deer, it was probably only unpleasant for a while. The motorcycle was used for parts after that, and I had to find something else to do for a while because the job I had required me to be able to run, and that was just not on the table for a while. So, given that that happened after dark when your visibility is greatly reduced, I've pretty much tried to avoid evening since then. I've kind of bent and broken that rule lately, tonight being one of them. And I'm going to get home before it gets completely dark, but it's still dark enough that the deer are likely out there, and dark enough that you're not going to see them really well with just the headlights. And I think that's something you should avoid if at all possible. Deer and motorcycles don't mix.